There it is.
Got it.
Perfect. Welcome to
So,
Level Up Academy. Today we have Ishani Behl, all the way from the space. No, I was just kidding. From London. Can you imagine? She's actually like up for us. It's not that late, but you know, you never know with Ishani. She's always busy. But let me introduce you to Ishani. I don't know if she told you how we met. But we were in an instructional design class or course because I love instructional design. I love metaverse. And I help her out with her thesis, just having some conversations. But Ishani is a certified instructional designer. Oh, Raquel is here. Woohoo. And also an e-learning designer. So she recently finished her master's in education and development, special focus on technology at the Institute of Education, which is IOE, University College of London, UCL. Institute of Education is ranked #1 in the global QS rankings of education department. Her thesis focused on immersive and interactive learning experiences in higher education institute. So she basically wants to enhance graduate people with employability. And that is why her and I clicked, because even though I'm a teacher, I don't just focus on theory, because theory doesn't pay. I'm sorry, it doesn't, right? And so that is the reason why we click. You can also check out her portfolio at ishanibehl.com. She has a bachelor's in liberal arts, major in politics from King's College of London, right? Hi, Sia. She's a work experience over 3 years in learning design and management by working in insurance companies, international organizations, and startups. She actually owns her own company called Sustainer, right? So I'm going to stop talking and tell us about your Sustainer company, Ishani.
definitely. So, first of all, I just wanted to thank everybody for being here today. And I'm really looking forward to this workshop because, as Dr. Leland just talked about, I am also the founder of a platform called Sustainer. It's actually an award-winning platform, and it's on UCL now as well. And what the platform is really about is demystifying the myths on sustainability and what sustainability actually is. So, as an instructional designer, I'm somebody who loves interactive education. And what I did was that I wanted to create awareness on sustainability, but I realized that people were not interested. So, I created a platform where there would be founders and businesses that would join that community, and I would connect them with smaller businesses that are curating sustainable alternatives. And they would actually end up collaborating and curating amazing business deals. So it would become more monetary in nature. And in a way, people would learn more about sustainability through curating these deals. And that was the whole idea of Sustainer. It was a marketplace and it was a network that connected different sustainable alternatives. And it kind of grew that particular industry in developing countries. And that's why I'm here, because my experience and my passion for sustainability was something that was really eye-opening for me. It changed me as a person. And I really hope that, what this workshop would really bring to you is kind of a very different perspective and a very different take on sustainability and how that can actually enhance your power and skills and creativity when it comes to developing any kind of project. So I realized that we need to really start thinking about action. And that's why I thought that, what, if we're talking about a technical concept, let's add a call to action. And the call to action for today is going to be about disruptive innovation. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining in, tuning in. And Dr. Leland, should we then begin and start the presentation?
We're going to actually, I'm waiting for more people to come, but we're going to put on breakout rooms because we do a little bit of networking just to see where everyone's coming from for the first, I'd say 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to move Mike and Raquel and Sia not in the same room. we will never pull them out in that breakout room. So hopefully we'll get it somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm sick of those people, man. Thank you.
Yeah. We're gonna put you in breakout room 5 minutes and then we're gonna start. Okay. The 2 question is what state or country you're from, and what is your experience when it comes to sustainability, or what do you think sustainability is? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Ready?
And I guess another question might be that what are the kind of what would you expect to learn from this particular workshop as well? I mean, what would excite you? I mean, this is about you, so yeah.
Ready? Wait, let me just make sure these two
So there
can be in the same room. Okay. Rooms are open.
Okay, I'm gonna join one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, American. So nice to see you. Hopefully you can hear me. Everyone is in the breakout room. They will be right back. There it is. Look who's here, American. Lots of LinkedIn family. Ishani, how was that? Getting to know people.
That was fun.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We're going to actually do a bigger one on this one where it's going to be on LinkedIn Live in the beginning of March. And there's no agenda. Literally, we're just going to go speed dating everyone. Like, what do you do? Okay, where do you go? What's your, okay, I'll change again. It's going to be fun. We're going to do it in March. All right, Ashani, whenever you are ready, ma'am, go for it.
I'm always ready, Dr. Leyland. Let's start the presentation because honestly, I'm so excited now that I've met everyone. I'm really, really excited. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and let me know if everyone can view my screen. I'm just going to share it right now. Yeah?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah.
You can see it? Okay, great. I'm just gonna put this on. Great. And all right, I'm just gonna start the presentation. All right, so hello everyone, welcome. And Dr. Leyland, I'm really excited for this amazing collaboration. And it was also an amazing opportunity to meet all of you coming in from different industries, coming in from different, having different philosophies. And I would love for all of us to kind of come together, on this workshop, network, learn about something new that can actually bring value to our lives in some sort of way. So I'm really excited. And if you have any questions at all, you're more than welcome to put it on the chat or raise your hands or react. I mean, whatever you will feel would make you comfortable, that would be great. And we're gonna now really talk about this topic. So before we begin, I've created this slide because I really believe that we should actually know where our time is actually going in. So this slide is specifically for all of us to try and understand what the schedule of this particular workshop is going to look like. So where are my 2400 seconds actually going away in, right? So we already started with the 5 minutes, which is the introductions that Dr. Leyland beautifully carried out. And I met wonderful people, and we have all networked and we've got to know each other, which is a great exercise. And then we're going to talk about how this workshop will add value for you and what we're actually going to study in this workshop. And then we're going to break down the concepts, the learning concepts, and the kind of concepts that are really important for integrating sustainability in your projects to create disruptive innovations. And then we're going to observe the disruptors. That's the main part of our workshop. Who are these disruptors? Who are these innovators who are creating these projects through sustainability? How do I create them? And then we're going to think about the major takeaways. What did we actually learn from these disruptors? We are going to create our strategy, and then we're going to apply them to our own projects. And then finally, there's going to be a round of questions. So does this sound good with everyone? And does anyone have any questions so far? Yeah? No questions? Great. I'm going to start now. Okay, so, all right. So this is done. So how this workshop will help you is there are 4 factors for this. First of all, we're going to really understand what is the true meaning of sustainability. In today's world, what I've really noticed is the fact that everyone, when they talk about sustainability, they get a little bit confused. What is sustainability? What does it really mean? Is it related to the climate? Is it related to the social aspect? How do I integrate it in some other aspect? What does it actually really mean? So we're going to really dive down into that true meaning of sustainability through really interesting exercises. Secondly, we're going to implement a new strategy that would enable us to create products or projects in your own space that can not only drive a positive change, but also financial success. I remember, Michael, you were really talking about that in the breakout rooms as well. So this is how sustainability can also help you grow your products through creating financial success, which is quite interesting. Thirdly, we're creating a community here. So we're going to network through learning. And then fourthly, we're going to create value and opportunity through learning about a very different concept. So this is how this workshop is going to help you. This is the main foundations behind this workshop. And of course, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but at the end of this workshop, we're all going to get a certificate. So that is one of the key foundations behind this workshop. So does anyone have any questions? Then I can move on to the next slide, which is going to be a very interesting activity, actually. All right, Dr. Leyland, I might need your help on this one. So there is a Padlet, that link that I've sent you. I think if you can just put that in the chat, and I would like to ask everyone to think for just 2 minutes. What do you think of sustainability? And we can all just perhaps go on that Padlet board and write down what's the first word that comes to our mind when we think about sustainability. I think it's here, right? Does everyone have access to it? No? Maybe let me just point and let me just send it. Oh yeah, I think
I just sent the second link. The second link works. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, the second link should work. Yeah, so maybe let's just take 2 minutes. And what's the first word that comes to your mind when I say sustainability? It should be on the Padlet. And what you can actually do is how this works is when you go on the Padlet, there's a plus icon on the lower part of your screen. Just click that and you can type in your topic of whatever you want to write about. Is it working? Yeah, I see people on the, okay, great. Oh, technology. Yeah, sure. Technology is quite a very interesting. Is quite interesting as well. People, way of life, yes, that's true. I'm just going to not losing longevity. Yes, sustaining means to sustain something that's longer. So of course, there's everlasting, communication, survival. Yeah, people, way of life. Wow, these are very interesting words and quite close to what sustainability is all about. I'm so glad that we have a very interesting take on sustainability, because honestly, in my experience, when I spoke to a lot of people, they were just like, oh, is it climate? But it can also be, it's actually also related to the climate as well. And yeah, I honestly love this. Yeah, I think we're just going to take 1 or 2 more minutes. And yeah, I love the fact that we're also naming naming movies, Disney movies. I love Wall-E, and I love the fact that yes, that's so true. Sustainability is how we can avoid that 100%. 100%. It's how we can actually avoid that. But those scenes were really incredible. I mean, they were really, really vivid. So yeah, and if anybody wants to also raise their hands and talk, feel free to unmute yourself, and you know, you can do that as well. I mean, this is an open space. So yeah, I think we're Dr. Leyland, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or okay.
But you can move on to the next slide. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So what I see is that a lot of us talk about sustainability as a fact that it basically means longevity. That's super correct. That's what sustainability is all about. It's how do you sustain something for a really long time? And it's a different way of life. So let's dive down to what is the concept behind sustainability, right? So I'm just going to move my slide. Oh, why isn't this moving? Oh, great. Okay, so according to me, and in my opinion, and feel free if you want to add any other inputs. So this is sustainability is the ability of a project, in this case, because we're talking about projects, to be maintained at a certain rate or level, using less resources and enhancing transparency by focusing on 3 aspects, which is economic, social, and the environmental aspect. This is what I believe through my research is what sustainability is all about. And I've tried to summarize this using several definitions in my academic research on what sustainability is all about. In a way, it's kind of this concept that creates less resources and enhances transparency by focusing on, the economic and social and environmental aspect. And what's amazing about this proposition is the fact that it's unique. You actually have to create something using fewer resources, right? So like, for example, the whole idea of less is more is what the whole concept behind sustainability is actually all about. How do you reduce waste, right? And that's where the environmental aspect also comes in, because at the end of the day, you're using fewer resources. When you're creating a particular kind of chocolate that's sustainable, the reason why it's sustainable is because you use less resources, you use less processes. That's what makes it sustainable, because it kind of cuts down on those operating costs. Then thirdly, it appeals to a different section of society. If you think about it, when we talk about sustainability, and this is going to be part of my next webinar as well, Dr. Leyland, it's about appealing to the eco-conscious customer. This is a new segment of a different form of client that's coming in the world. I mean, if you notice, a lot of people are always conscious of what they're talking about in terms of what they're eating as well, in a good way. So if supposing when it comes to healthy eating, when it comes to, any kind of relationship, we want transparency, right? We want to see that what we're getting paid for is actually valuable. We want to know that, because otherwise we don't want to be taken for granted. We don't want to, we don't want to be in a situation where, I invested so much in this, but I didn't get anything out of it. We don't want that kind of situation. And in our field, that's called greenwashing, where people actually talk about a certain product or a project that they're promoting, and they give out fake information. So that's not authentic, and that will not bring value to you. So that's why there is this new this new segment that's emerging, and that's why sustainability can actually create an opportunity for you, because you're catering to that new segment, and that can be found anywhere. You go on LinkedIn, you go on Instagram, you see reels. You always see that. If you notice, you'll see this happening. There are a number of people are always talking about the fact that they want transparent conversations. They want conversations that add value to them. So yeah, that's what sustainability is all about. Does anyone have any questions about this? No? All right, great. And I'm loving it. And all right, we're going to move on to the next slide as well. So yeah, all right. Okay. So now let's understand what's a disruptive innovation. All right, we talked about sustainability. Let's try and understand what's a disruptive innovation. So according to a very famous professor at Harvard called Clayton, he talked about the fact that disruption is a process whereby a smaller company with fewer resources is able to successfully challenge established incumbent businesses. Now, if you notice, it's almost a process whereby which you can disrupt a particular industry, right? And I love how Michael has said disruption's my middle name. Yes, Michael, that's the spirit. That's what we need today. And we are disruptors. And that's why we're here, right? To create disruptive innovations. So yeah, what do you actually, let me ask everyone a question out here. Do you see, any similarities between disruption and sustainability? Does anyone see any similarities between both the concepts? And someone can feel free to unmute yourself and talk. Yeah.
Well, with disruption, they're using less and doing the same with less and beating the competition that's bigger. So more, less is more, I guess. I need more coffee. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, you got it. You honestly got the point that I was making, and that's incredible because that's what we're talking about here. We are the reason why disruption and sustainability are so similar is because sustainability is also kind of a disruption, because what we are seeing is that it's a unique proposition. We use fewer resources and it appeals also to a larger section of society. And in a way, sustainability is also appealing to a different section of society. So it's adding to that customer segment to whatever project you're really talking about. And Raquel, I loved how talked about simplicity or simplifying as well. That's also an amazing way to put it. The reason why disruptions and sustainability works is because it's simplicity. And trust me, what I've really noticed is that the most successful companies, projects, really work with a very simple idea, and simplicity, or I guess minimalism in this case scenario, works. It works and it sells. And that's something that I've noticed, because a lot of people are just like, you know what, tell me whatever you're saying in just 10 simple words. But trust me, simplicity is also skill. And Dr. Leland, I'm more than happy to also work with you on a different webinar on that as well. So yeah, so
Mike
let's
wanted
move
to
on
add something. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no,
Mike,
I was typing. I was told to behave here, and then, but I did have something to say because Dr. Leland over, I didn't know, y'all didn't tell me she was brilliant and stuff. So yeah, marketing myopia reminds me of the disruption that you couldn't be a cable company or a phone company. You had to be a communications company, and you can't sustain. These companies either died or they became more than they started with. So when I think of you saying that, that's what popped in my head: disruption to sustainability, because you can't just stay in your lane. You have to evolve with the time. So great point. Love it.
Yeah, 100%. I really like that. And yeah, I love how Marikit, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, your name correctly. But yes, it's reinventing with whatever resources is available. And that's what makes disruption and sustainability like really, really cool concepts. And Michael, as you said, 100%, it's really what sustainability can actually do is increase that value of what you were talking about, and we're going to come to that soon. So yeah, and Netflix is a disruptor. It is a disruptor. And just imagine, the concept was so simple. What was it? An OTT platform where you bring together different kinds of movies, and you just watch whatever you really want to watch. Tesla, yeah, exactly. That is correct. Tesla is actually a company that we're going to be talking about. Yeah, I can't wait for us to start with those case studies, and which are going to begin right now. You're going to actually learn about these really cool case studies as well. So let's find out about them, because even I'm curious. So okay, before that, there is also another very interesting exercise. I think Dr. Leland, I'll need your help here as well. There is a poll that I sent you. So there is this a personality test that we're going to play right now. What's the form of disruption that you prefer, right? So there's going to be a poll that's going to be put out. I think, Dr. Leland, I think I should have sent you the link. Is it working for everyone?
It's on the chat. It's working. I just checked it on the chat.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, great. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I'm going to share the screen of the results. Let's see what everybody types in. Okay. And okay. Let's see what the results are. Okay. Okay. All right. I want to be, okay, a lot of people are talking about, I want to be remembered for what value I bring to the world. There are around 40% of the cohort that talked about the fact that I like creating solutions that would make my team more honest and transparent. And okay, not a lot of people talked about I work better when I'm part of a clean and organized space. Oh, okay, that's around 17% that talked about that. But it seems to be that the majority of us like creating solutions that would make my team more honest and transparent. Okay, I think this is great. And I'm just going to tell you why, because this basically talks about the fact that the kind of disruptors that you would make, most of you would actually make, seems to be falling into the category of transparent disruption value. And we're going to talk about that later. Basically, it talks about the fact that all of us want to create solutions. And I think that all of us around, I'm guessing, 50% of the cohort would be amazing in this case scenario in making solutions that would be more transparent and that would engage the clients of your project by creating transparent solutions. And I'm going to come to that later. But this really talks about the fact that all of us have the capability of making disruptive solutions. And you've already figured out which category that you would really belong to, right? Because all of you believe in these statements, right? You want to create transparent solutions, and 38% of us want to be remembered for the value that you bring to the world. That is the kind of a disruptive value that we are going to be talking about, because we're going to talk about how we can enhance that value, and we're going to talk about how we can implement that through the circular business design model. And then 13% of us talk about how I work better when I'm part of a clean and organized space. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have heard of this documentary by Marie Kondo that talks about, being in a clean space enhances positivity. That's a very big part of sustainability. Sustainability is all about the fact that I know the value of every single resource on my table. I know the fact that if I'm using a pen, the value of that pen is incredible, right? And I'm not throwing anything to waste because everything on that table is valuable to me. So this is how this poll is going to tell you what particular area of disruption you can create in your projects. And I think a lot of us are happy to create a transparent, disruptive, innovative model. And I'm going to talk about that later, how you can actually implement that. I know this is all crazy jargon that I'm talking about, but trust me, once we move ahead with the slides, I think you're going to get an understanding. So I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm going to go back to my presentation. And does anyone have any questions so far? No? All right. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. All right. So this is why we should really know this. This is what we were talking about, right? Less is more. The reason why we should integrate sustainability to create disruptive innovation is something that our poll told us. All of us are people who like clean and organized things. That's why the whole concept of less more comes in, right? When it comes to becoming resource efficient, that's something that sustainability teaches us. It's not only about the climate or the environment or the social aspect. It's about how do you utilize your sources so well that you can reinvent on something new. And then secondly, when people talked about the fact that, oh yeah, I want solutions that are transparent, that can help me communicate with my team members, right? That's called building trust. That's how sustainability is so amazing, because it helps you build trust with your teammates. That's what sustainability is all about. And then finally, technological advancements are also coming our way, right? So we need to innovate to drive progress. When we talked about the fact that we need to create more value in the world, this is what I'm talking about. Sustainability can actually be your weapon through which you can figure out how you can innovate on the projects you already have by enhancing the value of that project. And now we're going to really talk about how many people actually did this, how many people actually integrated sustainability in their projects to create disruptive innovations. So these are the disruptors. And the first one is Tesla. So did you all know that Tesla actually, and this is going to be a very interesting proposition. So what Tesla did was they created an EV charging network, right? So because Tesla creates electric vehicles, they created a EV charging network. And what it actually does is that it reduces the need for new charging infrastructure, and it increases the utilization of existing resources. Now think about this. So Tesla did a very simple kind of pivot on its project, right? And what it basically did was that it introduced a community of people who were using Tesla's products by creating a charging network. And what that really led to was the fact that when somebody would be charging at these stations that are over here, what would actually happen was that when they would be charging their vehicles, they would get on an app and they would share their experiences with the network that they were a part of. And sometimes it would also lead to like business collaborations. So did you just imagine this, that just with a simple idea like a community, you reduced your own resources, cut down on operating costs, enhanced the community, and increased your financial growth. That's called creating disruption through integrating sustainability. Then the second example is called the Repair Cafe, which is really interesting. So it's a global network of volunteer-led repair workshops that aim to extend the life of products and reduce waste. So what the Repair Cafe does, it's very similar to a Starbucks. And what it actually does over here is that you go inside the cafe, you get served coffee, and you replace or kind of repair the items that have been broken by mistake in your when it comes to any kinds of tools. And that actually is an amazing model. Because it's again a community, you network, you meet new people, you repair broken items by taking help, and this is all for free, by the way, right? And you don't have to pay any extra cost. You get it repaired, you create a community. And in a way, this leads to increased engagement and loyalty among stakeholders as well. So the reason why this can actually lead to financial growth is through a B2B model, where the repair cafe partners up with like different partners. And they really like this model because of the user acquisition. I know this is getting a bit technical, but this is what it actually means to create these kind of disruptive organizations. Just imagine simple, really, really simple concepts, and less impact on the environment. And that's it. That's how you create a disruption. Then I see that there are a lot of chats. I'm just going to go through that as well. And there was IKEA I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of IKEA, right? So now, did you know that IKEA has a circular hub? When you go to IKEA, there's like a circular hub shop or something like that. So what really happens is, if supposing you purchase any item from IKEA and it's broken, you have a buyback program. You go back to the circular hub. The circular hub has several resources that can help you either repair that product or reuse it or even recycle it in their own organization. And then if supposing it's completely broken, you get it recycled. And then what's really amazing is that you get your refund back as well. So in a way, there is no impact on the ecosystem, like no impact on the ecosystem. And that's what is really disruptive. Again, a simple concept. The customer gets credit for what they create. And this leads to, again, improved stakeholder agreement. There are financial reports. If you go to IKEA's annual reports these days, it shows the fact that there has been improved stakeholder engagement, because A, this is something new. B, there is a different customer segment. 3, it enhances brand loyalty over time. Then fourthly, you have Patagonia. Have you heard of Patagonia? It's it's a really famous company. That's an outdoor company. And what it really does is it has this robust repair program. It encourages new customers to trade in old clothing for credit towards new purchases. So if you actually go to Patagonia, you want to repair a piece of old clothing, you can actually do that, and you get discounts on when you create and credit when you buy new clothes from Patagonia. Isn't that amazing? I mean, this is what the disruptive innovation is really all about. All right, so I wanted to ask everybody in the room, what were your major takeaways from these concepts? Do you want to add anything, and do you want to share on what you think of, what these case studies were in terms of how it actually created an innovative solution? Have you heard of these solutions before? What do you think were your takeaways?
I love Marikit saying innovation is adding value through reinvention and recreation. And isn't that the truth? Like Apple has done that so many times, right? All the companies that actually are staying in their space. Like I didn't even imagine Samsung and Apple are like this, because Samsung is a global company and they're actually, their sales were always number one, no matter what, with Apple. But in 2020 to 2021, Apple's sales were more than Samsung in the world. I was shook. I was like, what? I thought everyone quit their job and there's no money. What is happening? So that is a disruptor right there. It's kind of amazing when you think about innovations. Ishani, what do you think is going to happen if I take them to the metaverse one of these days, right? In my office. Guys, I love technology. I just want to put you out there. It is Zoom, but it's like 3D. One of these days, I will invite you in my office in that way. But major takeaway, anyone? Mike, Raquel, Sia.
I'm going to try to be brief because I am in a coffee shop and they're loud. So, but first of all, Ishani, great presentation. Thank you so much. You've given me a glimpse into really like a little bit more in depth of what sustainability is. I'm not in that sector or industry, so that's why I was like, to me, it's like I'm mind blown. So congratulations. It's an amazing presentation so far.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that all of us are enjoying this, because honestly, I'm somebody who's very creative. I mean, I'm someone who's always been very creative. So when I actually thought of sustainability, I also never thought that it was like this. So I'm so glad that Raquel, that you really like these examples. And yeah, so we're gonna really think about what the major takeaways of these of this
Ishani, I just want to add one thing to a repair cave.
100%.
Yeah, what France did is France brought a law recently stating that there should be right to repair for the devices. That means major electronic consumer good producers and everyone has to keep spare parts for the goods at least for 5 years from the date of their release, so that it can be repaired, and it can be linked with repair cave very well. The law which was recently brought out by France.
Oh, yeah. That's actually true. Yes, that Anil, that's 100% quite relatable, because you can I mean, that's I'm guessing they must have gotten inspired. But yeah, now that's the other point that I was going to make as well, that if you notice that, countries like France are now even implementing this in their policies. Can you imagine that this is becoming a government policy kind of initiative as well? So it's a very big thing. And that's creating such innovations is really amazing, because it drives opportunities. I mean, people are creating policies out of this. So what I think are the major takeaways, and what I believe that what all of us were really thinking about, is we're going to come up with the framework. This is where the strategy comes into play. So let's study this. What I thought of all these case studies, and including of what all of you were also talking about, was the fact that there was increased growth through these innovations, but it was through not creating a new product, but it was through repairing, recycling, and sharing value, right? So I want to really now start thinking about I want all of us to start thinking about the term value. That now in today's world, what we don't need a new product, we need value. We need to bring in value to the world. We, like, as all of us even suggested in the poll, almost everyone, I think around like 50% of us, talked about the fact that we want a space, we want solutions that also bring value to what we actually create, right? So that is how sustainability can can really help us in how it can help us create those disruptive innovations. And it was through three aspects. If you notice, all of you guys, I think all the case studies talked about in some way, whether it was Tesla, whether it was Repair Cafe, whether it was Patagonia, they talked about repairing stuff, right? You would either repair your clothes, you would either repair furniture, you would either repair something else. So they repaired their value so that the lifespan of that product gets enhanced. And then finally, you also recycle. They recycled whatever inputs that they had created so that it doesn't go to waste. They made their whole model so circular, so I guess valuable, because it would not lead to any wastage in the environment. And then finally, it led to sharing. If you notice, how they shared their value was through creating communities. Every single case study, I think the first two case studies, if I'm not wrong, talked about the fact that there was a community, there was a volunteer network, there was some form of some social aspect where everybody was kind of getting together and working on enhancing that value. You know what that creates is engagement, because even today we're in this room. How this is adding also value is because there are so many people around us and we're talking about something that's really similar. Just imagine we have around so many different perspectives in the room today. That's how value is created, because we're all using our own minds and coming up with our own perspectives. And that's why you can create disruptive innovations through integrating sustainability. And I'm really loving the chats as well on the page, and I'm going to go through them as well. Thank you, Dr. Leyland. And I think that Raquel, yes, creativity is something that is so beautiful, and I'm so glad that all of us have come together today to discuss this. And I'm going to talk about the strategy that we can implement, and then we're going to do a short exercise, and that's going to be the end of the workshop. So I know we're a little short of time, so I'm going to just wrap up with the strategy a bit fast. And okay, so this is something that I created. It's inspired by a lot of models that that were a part of my research, that were a part of my experience. And this is known as the circular design thinking model, right? There are a number of frameworks in this world that talk about the fact that, we need to start thinking in a way that's circular in nature, not linear. I don't know, has anybody heard of this concept called circular design thinking? Anyone? No? Well, okay. Sia, is that how I pronounce your name? Yeah, you've heard about it. Do you want to share what do you think about the model? Something?
Yeah, so if I understand it correctly, it's designing in such a way from conception in the original supply chain all the way around from development to execution, creating the product itself, and then as it goes over to the end of life, how to recycle it and then restart it again. That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. And Michael, by the way, thank you for the comment. And time flies.
Thank you. And despite popular opinion, Michael, I do get educated every now and then. That was to Michael. Thank you.
See, now I hope you feel bad. Look at the chat. Look what I said before you threw that out. You look bad now. Everybody boo Sia. All right, go ahead. Boo.
I'm loving this conversation, guys. And Sivya, you're completely correct. Honestly, it's exactly what you just talked about. But also in my opinion, what I also feel is what makes something circular is because it enhances the lifespan of the value of your project. And this is why we're in this webinar today. And we're really talking about the fact that how do you enhance that value, not the product, the value, because the value is something that's going to bring in the money, the engagement, the community, the impact in the world. So I wanted to now just think about the fact that how we can actually start strategizing this, right? How do you integrate it in your own projects? How I see this is the fact that everybody in any project that they do, they go through like these 4 or 5 aspects, right? You think of anything, any project, you first analyze it, right? Is there a need for that project? Do I have to conduct any research? Why am I doing that project? Whether it's, I don't know, creating a vegan chocolate, or whether that's even, figuring out a plan to go to the gym, or whatever it might be. You always analyze what you're actually talking about. Then you put in the inputs. What do I need to actually create a vegan chocolate, right? I know vegan chocolate, Raquel, it's actually really cool, but it's just something that I really thought of. And I think it also sounds a bit weird, but so let's just change that to dark chocolate. Something like dark chocolate is, I guess, that something that we really all talking about. And yeah, I will be mailing it Thank you. I'm honestly loving the chat. So yeah. So when we think about creating chocolate, I'm gonna take that example. What do we make using that chocolate, right? I mean, what are the main ingredients to make that chocolate? Then how do you operate, or what is the process like? I mean, who are you tying up with? Who are the retailers? Who are the people who are going to make that chocolate for you? Are you going to tie up with any marketers to promote that chocolate? And then finally, you produce the chocolate. And then let's say that the value of that chocolate is that, when you eat that chocolate, you feel lighter. I'm just giving you an example. It can be anything, or that the value of the chocolate can be that it's cheap, it's affordable. It can be anything. And then once you've eaten the chocolate, that's it. Well, yeah, I mean, end of value. So, I mean, this is called a value chain. And this is how people usually create projects. This is what I think. I mean, this is very basic, but so you're more than welcome to add in what you really think as well. How this creates sustainability, how you can integrate sustainability to create disruptive innovations in the value chain, is throughout the three things that we really talked about, right? Repair, share, and recycle. So if supposing you go to that person who's selling the chocolate and you say, hey, Ishani, I had your chocolate, but I don't feel that great. I mean, I don't feel light or anything like that. Then you think to yourself, okay, that means I need to repair something about this, right? I need to rechange, I need to reinvent. Maybe if you be transparent with that particular customer and you say that, you know what, I'm going to offer you a new discount and I'll reinvent this or something like that, or I'll create a new flavor, or it can be anything that would use less resources, so that you can repair that and give it back to that customer by either giving you credit or whatever it can be. Or you can recycle that, where you can talk, or what can also happen is that the customer eats that chocolate and then completely forgets about it. They're just like, okay, I had Ishani's chocolate, great, let's move on. Okay, there's more things to do in life. But then I would be like, okay, next time he comes, he doesn't come to my stand to eat the chocolate, right? And I think what it really is all about is the fact that we can recycle in a way to create more engagement with the customer. And you know how we can do that is by writing perhaps content on the packaging. I'm just giving you an example over here, but that in a way enhances that end of value. And also you can use materials that can also be recycled, and you can tell the customer about it that, hey, this is made using recyclable materials, so nothing really goes to waste. You use less resources, you enhance the engagement by writing contents on the fact that it's recyclable. So in a way, there is some form of value that's created, right? Where the person can actually come back. It's like, oh yeah, I remembered Ishani's chocolate. It had something written on the packaging and it was really cool the way it was written. And it's also recyclable. Oh, I remember that created that thought process going on. I would come back to that same person. And I witnessed this. I've actually witnessed this for a change, where that person would come back when they would see that, oh, this sparked my attention. And then finally you share that value by, again, what if I told you that there's a community of chocolate lovers and a chocolate society that's part of my business? So yeah. And the three ways that you can do that is through creating economic disruptive value, or a social disruptive value, or a transparent disruptive value. And I'm going to show you how. So this is the final strategy, everyone. And then we're just going to do a little bit of an exercise on how we can actually implement that. And then we're done. So these are the kind of disruptions that you can create by repairing your value, recycling your inputs, and then sharing your value. And this is really cool. This is where you use your innovative power. And I really want everyone to start thinking about it. You can create an economic disruption by perhaps providing credit, like in all those case studies that we really learned about, right? Where, you offer credit if supposing you bring back a repaired item, or you get credit, or you get a discount. You can create a social disruption through creating a community, right? Through creating a network where, if supposing you want to repair, you want to fix that value, you want to ensure that whatever your clients paid for, their money doesn't go to waste. The project that you're working on, that investment doesn't go to waste. You can create a community, you can create feedback forms, you can, honestly, the world's your oyster over here. Then the transparent disruption is you can create a space for your clients where you can ensure that all the information that has led to the creation of that value has been put out there. There's that so that everything is transparent between the client and the business. And you can also even offer a space where the client has has kind of this opportunity to create something within that space. And then you can also recycle your inputs by creating an economic disruption. This is usually by reducing, for example, operating costs, using less resources. Less is more, right? That's when the economic disruption comes into place, because you're reducing costs in whatever you're creating. And then the social disruption is if you make stakeholders get involved, right? So perhaps if supposing internally you're working with a team, is there any way that you can create engagement within the team? In a way, you're recycling your inputs through creating a social disruption. And then finally, you have transparent disruption. You can get your information certified. And that's the same for sharing your value as well. You can create a collective fund or bond, or for social disruption, you can create communities. For transparent disruption, you can create campaigns that talk about the fact that everything is transparent between you and that project and everybody, so that the information is shared. You build trust through that. And this is different ways that you can integrate sustainability in your projects and create disruptive innovations. I would like you to now, if you have any questions, feel free to talk. And perhaps now this is a good time for breakout rooms. I want you to perhaps take a screenshot of the types of disruptions. And then we're going to use this particular template and see how we can apply them to our own projects. Yeah. So we're going to do that for like just 5 minutes, I guess, 5-10 minutes. And let's see what we come up with. So I think I'm gonna stop sharing has everyone taken a screenshot of?
I just want to let everyone know, because I know some of my students are running. We are at 12. So if you guys need to go, it's okay. You still get that certificate. Yeah. It's already at 12. If you guys want to continue the conversation, definitely post your LinkedIn in here as far as your LinkedIn information, so we all can connect, and then maybe we can carry the conversation further. But I respect your time, so feel free to leave if you need to.
I know, I completely understand. Feel free to leave. I think we're done with the presentation and we're done with the workshop. Now this is just a simple exercise on how you can apply it. And if supposing you are running late, what you can also do is that when you do have time, definitely do think about it, and you can share your thoughts with me or Dr. Leyland on LinkedIn, and we can post it on the website in terms of what everybody's thoughts are, perhaps, and create a kind of network that can help us with that. So yeah, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So yeah, Dr. Leyland, I don't know what works. We can go out into breakout rooms. Otherwise, we can all just share what we think.
Just share it here. Raquel, I think, had a great question. Like, she was asking, like, hey, is one or the other stronger? To me, it doesn't. It's like salt and pepper, right? If you have too much pepper or not enough salt or not over the other, it just doesn't taste the same. So for these, it has to be within those three. They're kind of interconnected. It's a matter of like volume, meaning one of the disruptors or the elements could be a little bit higher depending on the situation, right? And in order for you to really put and add value, you have to know your stakeholders. Sometimes we create classes, we create ideas, and we create projects based on our own needs and not necessarily the needs of the people who actually need it. Right. And I've done that. And I'm like, oh, this is such a great idea. And then I put it out there and you're like, oh, I guess it wasn't a great idea. You know, and that's why when I create class, I put beta. Like when I did Managing Your Boss, I literally give it to all kinds of industry to create it so I can get feedback of how it is and what I need to change in order for me to get better, because I can always learn and I can always get better. That's my daily thing. Like I need to hustle on my thoughts. And I love all the questions that you guys have. Ishani, thank you. That was really amazing. Sia over here is amazing on content creation. Mike over here is a wizard on connection, and so is Raquel. And Market over here from the Philippines at 3 a.m. Okay, that is commitment, by the way, right? Shani over here, I think is what, 7 p.m. your time in London?
Yeah, no, it's 8.
Oh yeah, dinner time. And Anil, are you in India? Where are you?
No, I'm in Dubai now, UAE. It's
Dubai.
12.
See,
Yeah.
we are global, guys. Thank you so much for being
Global
here.
community.
Yeah.
Global community.
Yeah, and then
amazing.
Mike over here, I haven't really talked to him yet, but we are always connecting on LinkedIn on there. Do you guys have any questions before Ishani goes to bed? Literally.
I'm not gonna go to bed right now, please.
8 p.m. Good night.
No, honestly, yeah, I just want everybody to just think about this on because this is something that is not discussed. I think we might be like a very small percentage in the world, because I do know that not a lot of people talk about this. So it takes a while to sink that in, but I'm more than happy to have as many conversations about this and, trying to figure out the best strategy on how we can actually implement this. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything that you thought about on how you can perhaps integrate something like this in your projects, feel free to unmute yourself and let us all know.
Yeah.
Ishani, I actually want to know few more companies or startups who are doing disruptive innovation, like Repair Cave and Patagonia, IKEA, like that. If there are few more startups, if you could suggest, because it will be like case study, I can Google and learn even more.
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are a lot. I'm happy to send you a list over towards the end of the week as well. Like there is actually this so Sustainer, my platform is literally an example of what we really talked about. We have so many companies over there, and I think I was just talking to Docleyland as well about it. There's also a company that's, I think, recently based out of London. It's called Sojo. I don't know if all of us have heard of it. It's really cool. You know what it does? Supposing you've torn your jeans, or if supposing you need to repair your clothes, it repairs your clothes for you. So it's like a delivering food, like almost very similar to a food delivering service. You just call the person who wants who gets your clothes repaired. You put that in the kind of a post box or something. That, like, a lot of these post boxes available. You put that piece of clothing in. It's all safe, it's regulated really well, and you get your clothes repaired. So you don't have to change, you don't have to dump that piece of clothing. Honestly, if it's torn apart, they honestly they even reinvent those clothes. So it's really cool.
I need to have that, because I don't know how. I can manually sew, but I don't know how to machine sew. I wanted to put it out there because since Mike is already here and Sia is already here and Raquel and Mariket, we were talking about the chat about the company